What's up, everybody? It's your boy back again, Brooklyn Mclinn, Life Strategy Meetup Group, reading from my book of favorite quotes. We are up to number 14 out of 30. My book of favorite quotes: A 30-Day Transformation to Becoming a Better You. It's my first book, and it's available on Amazon. And as always, thank you, and I appreciate everybody that's following along, watching, commenting, emailing. Just gonna keep this thing going. Continue to grow. Continue to grow. It's all about awareness, elevation, growth, consciousness. You know what I mean? Me, we. All right, we're up to number 14. Number 14. Don't be shy about asking for help. It doesn't mean you're weak. It only means you are wise. By Unknown. Number 14. Don't be shy about asking for help. It doesn't mean you're weak. It only means you're wise. Okay? Man, oh man, this was a tough one for me. For a good chunk of my life, I connected help with weakness. If the majority of things are learned behaviors, then where did I learn this idea from? My father definitely had a hand in it because I never saw him ask for help. I watched him make my mother feel less than for not knowing how to do something. Having older brothers and being teased for needing help as a child left an impression. In school, you felt less than because you didn't understand or you needed assistance. On TV, it was always the scrawny guy getting picked on, bullied, and needing help from the stronger, cooler guy. What comes to mind is the old TV show Happy Days, when the Fonz, who was like the cool, strong guy, would stick up for the weak, uncool guys, Richie, Ralph, and Potsy. I laugh now, but it wasn't funny then. It was something that stuck with me. Now, giving help, on the other hand, to me was a sign of strength. So as someone who ultimately people came to for help, it was a badge of honor to be able to give it. There are many times in my life that I needed help and didn't ask for it because I didn't want to appear to be weak. I would just go without whatever it was, then swallow my pride enough to just ask for help. It came to a head for me over 10 years ago when I found myself in a financial bind. A dear friend of mine became aware of it by either observation or someone sharing my situation with him. He asked me if I needed help, and of course I declined, willing to sink with my ship. My friend offered me the help anyway, and I still wouldn't take it. Then he said bluntly, "Look, man, if I was in your position and needed your help, would you help me?" And without hesitation, I said yes. Then he said, "Well, damn it, let me help you because you would do it for me. By not allowing me to help you, you are blocking my blessings and yours." I had another friend share with me that God doesn't always tap you when you need help. God will touch someone else to bring the help to you, and when you decline it, you are also blocking your blessings. I began to look back at all the times I needed help and people offered and I didn't accept it. I thought how foolish I had been, and then I came across this quote and it gave me a different perspective on how to look at it. It doesn't make you weak to ask for help. No one has done it all on their own. Every successful person has had help reaching their goals. I think it's something as men we need to pay more attention to because we are so dominated by our egos and pride. In our culture, enough emphasis isn't put on the fact that everyone needs help and that no man is an island unto himself. Donald Trump, with all his self-made talk, received a $200 million inheritance from his dad. Keep in mind, people enjoy helping those that are trying to help themselves. I love now that I ask for help. I'll even ask for help when I know the answer because it will encourage someone else to feel strong about helping. Just accept that we all need each other and we will not get anywhere solely relying on our own strength. It is a sign of respect and love that someone is willing to help you. Everyone, no matter how big and strong, could use a little help sometime. Never be afraid to ask for help when you need it. What are we here for if not for each other? Okay, that's number 14. Don't be shy about asking for help. It doesn't mean you're meek. It doesn't mean you're weak. Excuse me. Don't be shy about asking for help. It doesn't mean you're weak. It only means you're wise. Okay, and that's unknown. So let's reflect on that a little bit. Um, Asking for help was always like a real tough sticking point for me. Um, just because I always equated it with weakness. Like, you need help. I can't do it on my own. You know what I mean? Um, and obviously, I could trace it back to childhood stuff, but, you know, once you're aware of where it comes from, it's like, as an adult, we have to be willing to move forward and move beyond, what we would consider our limitations. And asking for help was, I feel, looking back, was a limitation. Um, like we talked about, nobody does it by themselves. Okay? Nobody does it by themselves. We've all had help at some point in time, either a lot of help from one person or smaller amounts of help from a lot of people, but we all had help, if you're really truly being honest with yourself. Um, I'm going to share a couple of stories about when it became painfully obvious that I needed to make a shift in my thinking. One was when I first started acting, a casting director knew that I had a lot of relationships in the business. And she strongly suggested that I reach out to them to help move my career along. And instantly I took it like she was saying that I wasn't good enough and there's no way I'd be able to succeed on my own in this business. And those weren't the words that came out of her mouth, but that was my interpretation of it. I personalized it, right? So that's one thing I really received from Don Miguel Ruiz in the Four Agreements, is never to take anything personal. So I learned to take what people say at face value and how can it benefit me as opposed to how can it hinder me. So when she told me that and I received it like, basically, you ain't shit, you can't do it by yourself, and you need to go lean on your relationships for help. So that it made me almost more adamant and more determined to try to do it by myself. Okay, which leads us to the next story, which is I had a friend who was on a TV show and an audition came up for a role, and I went, to audition and did the best that I can do, and then I went down to say hi to her after it was over, and she was like, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "Oh, I had an audition for your show." And she just looks right at me and she goes, "You're stupid." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "You're stupid." And I was like, "Why?" And she goes, "Because I'm not telling you that I could have given you the part, but why didn't you tell me you were auditioning? Like, at least let me put in a good word for you." And I was like, nah, I'm trying to book it on my own. She goes, "And you're stupid." And I was just like, wow, and walked away like. So it was like a point in my life where a lot of people were starting to reveal to me that I was getting in my own way by not receiving the help. So all of us some of us daily at night, but all of us at some point have asked for things or asked for conditions or asked for situations better than what we're dealing with, right? So every thought like that is a seed or a prayer into the universe, right? You don't like your car, man, I wish I had a better car. I wish I had a better relationship. I wish I had a better job. I wish things were easier. Like whatever that is, those are prayers. And what I receive now is that God doesn't always touch me for me to figure it out. It's like somebody else has the wherewithal to benefit my situation, and for me to block it, it's like God is going to do it. I'm trying to help you, but we're so in our ego. It's like, no, I want to do it by myself. It's like, your organs in your body, not working together, and the heart is going, no, I'm gonna pump the blood, I'm gonna digest the food, I'm gonna I'm gonna filter the blood, I'm gonna be the waste system. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you have your responsibility that helps circulate the oxygen in the blood, you know, throughout the system, and the liver does its thing, and the kidney and the pancreas, and you know, your lungs, and like everything has its responsibility and all works together for the whole. And that's what I believe now about us as people and as a human race. We're all here to work together for the good of the whole. So, you know, the last line in this section is, what are we good for if we're not here for each other? Right? So that's one of the laws of the universe is, you know, you reap what you sow. What goes around comes around, or the law of cause and effect. So it's like, it's a cycle that needs to be completed. So if I'm willing to give help, I have to be willing to receive help to complete the cycle. Otherwise, the equation is unbalanced. If I'm only giving and never receiving, then my cup will never be full, or it would never replenish itself, because I'm always giving. And then people who are always giving complain about nobody ever gives to them, but when people try to give to them, they don't receive it. Well, if you received help as you give it, that's the natural flow. And you know when you're out of exchange, right? If you're somebody who never gives help and you're always receiving it, like, you know you out of exchange. And if you're always giving it and you're never receiving it, like, you better learn you're out of exchange, you're out of balance, right? So to complete the cycle, it's giving and receiving. It's give and take, right? It's complementary to each other. It's a law of the universe. So I'm not going to be long-winded on this one. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Asking for help means you're wise. You're smart enough to know that you can't do it by yourself. And at this point in my life, I'm smart enough to know I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it by myself, even if I could. Because it's more fun to do it with people. For that interaction, for that bonding, for that team building, for those memories, for those friendships. Like, if I did it all by myself, who could I share that experience with? Myself? Well, we finally made it to the top, and I have nobody to thank but myself. I want to be able to make it to the top and go, man, thank you everybody who had a hand in me getting up here. Because the higher I go, the higher we go. Okay, so if that's a sticking point for you, it's something that you really should pay attention to. It's really something you should truly, truly work on, is being willing to receive help. It's the only way you're going to advance in this game that we call life, is to receive help, but also to give it. Also to give it. And not giving it, you know, because you want to receive it. It's like, you know, everything is based on a feeling. Give it because it feels good, and receive it because it feels good. Give it because it feels good, receive it because it feels good. Right? And it doesn't have to be an eye for an eye. Just because, you know, one particular person helped you doesn't necessarily mean you have to give that help back to that person. We're all connected. So if I'm getting help from wherever, then I need to give it to somebody else or some other situation. If it is that same person, great. And if it's not, great. So you offering to give somebody a ride, you know, a kind word, a hello, you know, some money if you have it to spare, some food, you know, a shoulder to lean on, an ear to, you know, to listen, a piece of advice. Like, just giving and receiving, it's connected. It's all one big circle. All right. So one last time, number 14 is, don't be shy about asking for help. It doesn't mean you're weak. It only means you're wise. Okay, and that's by Unknown. It's your boy Brooklyn Mclinn, and I will see you next week with number 15. And I hope everybody's having a great weekend. It's Valentine's Day. People get on me about how I feel about holidays because I don't really celebrate them because I kind of irks me that we allow the state to tell us when we're supposed to feel stuff. So I think every day should be an expression of love. Love is a state of being, not a state of doing, right? So love on yourselves every day. You know me, I'm all about that self-love. Um, love on each other every day, express it every day, and every day should be Valentine's Day. All right? Peace.